It's Dan here with Chung Hoi. We're going to go on the Pablo Escobar tour. So we're in the elevator if you hadn't already figured it out.
Pablo Escobar was born in Rio Negro, the place you stayed for New Year's Eve. He was born there in 1949. After that, he grew up in another city close to Medellin called Envigado. I don't know if you have heard about that.
No.
We're going to go that way.
Okay.
So he grew up there, and he started studying in the university, but he didn't finish it. So he, at a really young age, started to do like bad things, you know, like trafficking with tobacco, with fake lottery tickets.
Oh wow.
And stealing some vehicles like cars and motorbikes, and doing some kidnappings and asking for ransom.
Ransom, yeah.
So he did say that he began to earn like some money with the kidnapping business, and after that he met a girl called Grisela Blanco. Have you heard about that? The Black Widow?
No.
Okay, so he met this girl who was like the first girl like that started to work with cocaine here in Medellin.
Okay.
And she was the one that introduced him to that work and that business. So they together started to work and started to send hundreds of tons of cocaine per month to the state.
Right.
And as you have seen on the series, it easily and quickly started to become like an empire.
Right.
Doing that kind of business. It is said that in the highest peak of his career as a drug dealer, drug lord, he moved like the 80% of the drug that was coming into the United States. By planes, submarines, through people, and basically that's how everything started here with Pablo Escobar. As you might have seen on Netflix, he began to get like a lot of power, and with all that money he started to do like things for the poor people, like building houses for poor people.
Right.
One example is the neighborhood we're going to see. Football courts and hospitals and things like that for poor communities here.
Right.
And after that and all that, like all the power and the popularity he earned with the people here, he decided to move to politics.
So
he became a member of the Chamber of Representatives. I think it's like the translation in English. And a lot of people say that was like the big mistake he made to get into politics, as he exposed himself to the whole world, the whole country, and everybody started to notice that he was like a really big drug dealer, drug lord here in Colombia. So after that, and all the problems start coming, he began like a war against the Cali cartel and the government, of course, the whole time, because there was a certain time that the government started like chasing him because they already knew like all the background activities he was doing. So he started like a war against the government, and besides that, against Cali cartel. Like Cali is like the third most important city here in Colombia. Guatape, Medellin, and Cali. So there was a time in the middle of the 80s, late 80s, that he started to fight against the government and other cartels. That's why the Monaco building bomb you told me before we're going to meet in a while was like the event that started the war against those two cartels. They tried to kill him, and after that he started to put bombs all around the country and all around the city, trying to get like a revenge for what bomb they put to his place. He put hundreds of bombs all around the city to business that belonged to that cartel, and bombs against some government entities and things like that. So at that point everything became like in a crazy way, and he got a deal with the government. I mean, he was like running away from the government. So he got a deal with the government, and that's when he made an agreement with them to spend 8 years in a prison built by himself, like by his people, Catedral. We're going to head there in maybe 2-3 hours. And he stayed there for around a year. He didn't stay there longer because that wasn't a prison at all for him. I mean, it was like his castle. He was protected by the people working there, like the guards there were protecting him. They were like in his payroll, and he was bringing prostitutes, famous soccer players to play like classical match between the both main teams of the city there. They were even killing people there, like his enemies or people he had problems with. So the government realized about all that things and decided to take him away from that prison. He knew about that in advance, so he decided to escape through a fake wall they had built on purpose on the prison. And after that he spent like a little bit more than a year running away from the authorities until he finally got killed in the 2nd of December of 1993. All this area here was built by him for hundreds of poor families that used to live like in a dump.
Right.
Literally in a dump. He took them away from that place and he built this neighborhood, this part of the neighborhood you are already seeing.
Pablo Escobar souvenirs for sale. I guess they're being sold by this barber shop.
His home. It used to be his home. This property is about around 8,000 square meters.
Oh, this is one home?
It was one of his homes.
Oh, one of his.
He used to live here with his family.
Okay.
He built it here for his family and himself. The last floor for himself, and the other, it is 8 floors. The last one for him, and the other 4, 5 used to be for his family members. The building was really luxurious inside, and it is said that he built this building here because crossing that street, the Poblado street, the Golden Mile I told you before, there is a country club called Campestre Club. He always wanted to be a member of that country club, but they didn't allow him to be a member because they already knew about his background and the activities he was doing. So he wasn't allowed to be a member, and it is said that he built this building here as a way to show them that fuck you, I'm going to build my building here, and I'm gonna be keeping an eye on all of you from my floor. Car bomb. Here, 80 kilograms of TNT went off in that date. He wasn't here. They were trying to kill him, but he wasn't here. His family was here, and during that attack, his daughter Manuela suffered some ear damage. I think he's almost deaf in one of his ears. And after that event, war against Cali cartel began really hard. It was like the beginning of the war between the two cartels.
Right.
So
El Dorado, is that how you call it? Was a place that the Spanish were looking for, where they were told all the gold was?
yeah,
Oh.
that's true. It's like a tale.
But but there isn't a real place called El Dorado, or there wasn't at the time they were looking.
No, I mean, it is like a tale. Nobody has found like the place. They never did.
Oh.
But the name of the place is El Dorado. It's supposed to be like the place where all the gold would be.
I wonder if El Dorado is a Spanish word, or was it an indigenous word?
I think it's Spanish.
Because
Like
we were,
the golden one.
yeah, because we were, oh, it means the golden one?
It means like the golden one.
Oh, okay. Because we were in Bogota, and they have the gold museum there,
Yeah,
and there's a lake where a lot of gold was thrown.
yeah. That is supposed to be that place. I mean, it's supposed to be that place. The lake, with the lake.
Okay.
But you always hear about that as a myth.
It's a myth.
We heard online that I think it was the interview with Pablo Escobar's son, that Pablo Escobar offered to pay off the Colombian national debt if he didn't have to go to prison or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, but the government
And it was
didn't
supposed to be
agree.
like 10 billion.
I don't remember the amount, but I don't know the amount. But yeah, he offered to pay that, and of course the government refused. But imagine.
You wonder if a story like that is true about paying off the national debt, or if it was just Pablo Escobar's way of making them think that there's a lot of money he could give them. Maybe not that much, but to leave them alone. And it reminds me of a story of an American comedian called W.C. Fields. Back in the 1920s, he was rumored to have been at dinner with a beautiful actress. I don't remember what her name was, but he asked her if she would sleep with him for $1 million. And she said, yeah, I think I would. And then he said, would you sleep with me for $100? And she said, that's ridiculous. Do you think I'm a whore or whatever? And he said, well, we've already determined you're a whore. We're just negotiating the price right now. You wonder if a story like that is true about paying off the national debt, or if it was just Pablo Escobar's way of making them think that there's a lot of money he could give them. Maybe not that much, but to leave them alone. And it reminds me of a story of an American comedian called W.C. Fields. Back in the 1920s, he was rumored to have been at dinner with a beautiful actress. I don't remember what her name was, but he asked her if she would sleep with him for $1 million. And she said, yeah, I think I would. And then he said, would you sleep with me for $100? And she said, that's ridiculous. Do you think I'm a whore or whatever? And he said, we've already determined you're a whore. We're just negotiating the price right now.
La cara perfectamente. Y se ve que lleva.
But Buenos Aires is an amazing city.
Yeah, I agree. Love Buenos Aires.
So guys, this used to be the famous Catedral, the prison that Pablo Escobar built for himself with a deal he made with the Colombian government in 1981. And it has changed a lot. It's been like more than 25 years since then.
Right.
And when he escaped, a lot of people came here and destroyed it looking for some huacas, caletas, and caletas. So it was completely destroyed and it was later given to a group of monks.
Oh.
So they changed it, everything, and now they are taking care of this place and they are taking care of some old people, elderly people living here, like 50 something persons living here.
Okay.
Are being cared for by the monks. So basically, this area here, where we are standing, and that other area, used to be like the main building of the prison.
Okay. Okay.
Up there, let's go up there. Used to be like a really huge football court.
Okay.
As I told you before, he used to bring like the two most famous local football teams, Atlético Nacional, the one that won that championship I told you before, and Deportivo Independiente Medellin.
Right.
He used to bring those teams or players of those teams to play like private match between them.
Wow.
For him, these people used to be here.
Wow.
Now you can see how it changed.
It changed a lot.
It's beautiful.
Now it become like a house for people.
Yeah, it's house for all elderly people.
It's beautiful, huh?
Una foto. That time place. Range of what used to be one of the bedrooms of the pleasure of Pablo Escobar,
Oh.
with his round base, of, like a round base for his bed. ¿Qué tal? Maybe you see that? The round structure up there
Yeah.
used to be like the base of
His bed,
his bed.
where he slept.
The bed, he used to
Spin?
To spin. It used to spin. It used to be like that. That's one of the few things that still remains like original from back then.
Right. Recently, or do people never admit it when they find
No, I think that if you find that, you keep it for yourself because you will be in trouble.
it? The government will just take it away
Yeah,
from
the
you.
government of even relatives or people working with him back then will be chasing you to get the money.
Wow. What is this? A Jesus prison? Or Jesus?
All this is new.
Okay.
Yeah, all this is new. They change it. I mean, like the monks change it, and they build like this building to keep like all these handmade things.
Okay.
They here.
Okay. So the monks are still living here, taking care of old people, and this is stuff they build and sell?
Money of some of the victims, Pablo Escobar victims.
Okay.
Here you can find person like you saw Netflix, Moncada and Galeano, the guys that were killed here.
Right.
You can see their names here.
Yeah.
There are some important.
Carlos
persons
Ernesto
here,
Valenciano, was he the one, the presidential candidate was killed? Yeah.
That one. And no, there is another one. Rodrigo Lara Bonilla was a minister. He was
Right.
killed by him as by hitmen.
By hitman, okay.
Hitman on motorbikes.
Okay,
And yeah, with guns.
I see.
This guy was killed. He was chasing him really bad, and he just
Oh,
plata o plomo, bullets. This time was bad because he didn't.
he wouldn't take the money.
He's Carlos Galan, presidential candidate.
Okay.
He was for sure going to be like Colombian president, and he got killed because of Pablo Escobar.
So this is the view of Pablo Escobar's
And the helicopter.
prison. Oh, is it a helicopter pad?
Yeah, that is the.
It's original guardhouse?
Lives in a very nice place.
It's beautiful. Was he here long? Was he in this prison very long?
A year.
1 year.
and 1 month. The area.
Oh,
And the reason why they decided to take him to a real prison was because of the death of his partners
yeah.
in business, Moncada and Galeano. When they disappeared and they noticed that the last time they were seen alive were here, they realized that he killed him. He killed them here, and they say that's enough. I mean, he's bringing prostitutes, football players here. He's doing whatever he wants to do here.
Yeah.
Even some people say that he usually used to go out the prison at night,
Oh,
partying in the city, and coming back early in the morning.
wow.
So yeah, it wasn't a prison. It was like a protection for him, actually,
Yeah.
from his enemies.
And he was still, the drugs were still moving when he was in here, right?
He was moving. He was in charge of that guys, Moncada and Galeano, those two guys. And the thing was that he started to ask him for some, like a tax.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as he was
In prison.
and he did like a lot of things to avoid extradition and all that in favor of the drug dealers.
Right.
He demanded them to give them some money because he wasn't making that. I mean, he wasn't in charge of the business anymore. Like he was relying on those two guys. So he was asking for that tax
To pay for everything.
pay for everything that all the expenses he paid to get at that point. And at a certain point, they didn't agree to pay that
And that's when,
that tax to him, and he said that that's the reason why he invited them to come here to make to sort everything out. But he really killed them, and he was expecting to. They were expecting to fix everything, and he wasn't thinking about the same thing. He killed them. These used to be rooms for the guards, the guards taking care of the prison. You can find here some of the remaining belongings of Pablo Escobar, like part of the bedroom, the circular shape one.
yeah.
Some of the really like 30 years, almost 30 years. They're still.
It's such a beautiful part of the world. I mean, it's maybe because it's near the equator, and at the same time it's high enough in the air where it remains cool, but there's just
The weather is perfect.
the weather is just amazing. It's like,
It's like the whole. A little bit more cold, a little bit more hotter, but.
yeah.
Oh, you still have flower to go to here.
Huh?
You still have flower.
Yeah. So this is Pablo Escobar family grave. You can see it's like a shared grave for some of the family members.
Right.
Here you can find him, 3rd of December of 1949, and died the 2nd of December of 1993.
There he is.
44 years old. Lost a day. His mother. His father.
His father too.
2007.
Wow.
His brother, and the younger one, the driver. In the series, the guy who was driving
Yeah.
the taxi,
Yeah,
he was like his bodyguard.
yeah. So
That
he
was the only guy here who is not a member of the family, but because of his loyalty to
yeah.
him, he earned it like
He
the.
died the same day though, right?
Yeah, the same day.